Now let's return to Everett, Washington and our interview with Barry Hilbert. This is a lot of car. This is a huge car, and huge. I mean, if you looked it up in the dictionary, this is it. This is a giant car. Huge. What do we have here, and how big is it?
This, as I call it, in the age of excess, this was excess. It's a '59 Continental Mark IV Convertible, and right away, people are going to say, well, wait a minute, the Mark IV didn't come out till the '70s. When they dropped the Mark II Continental in '57, they wanted to keep the name alive. And this was a whole new car, the unibody again, and they said, let's use the Mark. So in '58, they called it a Mark III, in '59 a Mark IV, and in '60 a Mark V. Then when the four doors came out in '61, they went back to Lincoln Continental. And it wasn't until '69, and then they had to decide what to do. They were going to bring the Continental back again. And they just wrote these off. Wow. So I call them, and a lot of people call them, the forgotten Continental. It's 19 feet 1 inch long, weighs 5,400 pounds, runs on 950 14 tires. It's an inch longer than the biggest Ford SUV. And there's nothing subtle about it at all.
And the one thing for the viewers to remember, this is not a Lincoln Continental, this is a Continental.
Well, as the books will say when they talk about it, it's badge engineered. It's really a Lincoln, with the most unique thing is its power back window, and they put Continental name on it, but it really was just a badge.
And tell the viewers what you just told me off camera about the comment your dad made.
Oh, my dad had one of these in a two-door hardtop, a Continental Mark III, '58. And people would say, oh, you're Lincoln. And he'd say, no, I paid $2,000 extra for the back window that goes up and down. It's a Continental.
It's a Continental. Giant car, interesting convertible top, interesting interior, very heavy, very long. What's under that hood, and what's the transmission? And
well, not only did they build a new Wixom plant to do these in unibodies, nobody before or since has ever done a unibody this big. The car kept getting heavier, so they said we need a new engine. So on top of everything else, they built this monstrous 430 cubic inch engine, which is called a wedge and block combustion chamber. The top of the block is cut in an angle. When you put the heads on it, it creates a combustion chamber inside the block. And it's, in '59, was rated at 350 horsepower with a 298 rear axle ratio through a cruise-o-matic. And this car, when Motor Trend tested it, only the Pontiac Tri-Power and the Plymouth Fury were faster to 60 miles an hour. This thing was unbelievable. It could take all this mass and move it down the road that fast. And it has coil springs all the way around because they were thinking of doing air suspension. And I could do a U-turn on a downtown street. This car handles so well you forget how much car you've got, and you just start driving it like it's a regular car, which is the best compliment I think you can give it.
Your T-Bird is really different and sculptured, and this is really different and sculptured, but they don't look the same. It's different stuff.
Rereading the articles on these cars, they had developed a way of deep stamping metal about 1955 into the late 50s. And so the sculptors went to work on this, and as the magazine article says, there's a lot of deep drawn steel on this and a lot of unique styling. The scoop effect that goes down the side, the little fins on the back but very defined, and of course the headlight shaping, it's
Just a tiny, I mean, talk about a car that's a total opposite of this, but there's just a little tiny Corvette touch with that cove on the side.
I don't know what their thinking was on the cove. In the '58, it was very deep and very pronounced. On the '59, they toned it down. The headlights on the '58 were isolated from the grille. They toned that down. And I don't know where they got the idea for the cove. It doesn't, to me, seem to fit that well.
And style-wise, that the back end of this shouldn't work. I mean, it doesn't make sense, but it works.
It does.
Not mechanically, but just the style of it. It's sort of like, well, it's going the wrong way, and it's cut off, and it's blunt, but it still looks right.
It's my favorite angle of the car. I like the rear three-quarter view, showing the cut-in window, and that, I think, makes the whole rear end look even longer, which it doesn't like you say, perhaps need to do.
Yeah. And the interior on these look more like they should be in a very stylish 1959 modern home living room rather than in the car.
Well, one thing they did on the interior is they continued using leather from Bridge of Weir, Scotland. And that was supposedly a better deep dye process. And as my dad said, the cows over there didn't get marks in them from barbed wire fences. But they continued to use some of the things from the Mark II. But it really does with what they call biscuits and pleating. They used a style that was in effect in your homes back then. And it is unbelievable how much room is in that car. I can make the power seat go back and tip it so much I can't reach the gas pedal.
Wow.
And I'm 6'2".